Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another story time, a Path of Exile video. I'm going to talk about a thing that has been brought up to my chat quite a lot over the last few weeks when it comes to currency making strategies, and that is the concept of zero to hero. There's a buttload of different strategies and guides for this game. It is extremely complicated, and I just wanted to shed my 2 cents and some light on some of the aspects of this, because the questions I've been having is, I saw your currency making guide, but it's requiring some investments. The problem or the question I get is, how do I get there? So I wanted to tackle this topic and talk about, because there's a few things that are problematic in the community, and there's a few things that are misunderstood, and a few things that are just not common sense to a lot of new players. So I wanted to talk about these and take it from there. So one of the few things is that when you're looking at a perspective from a currency farming strategy, they normally involve doing high tier maps, or they require you to do 100% or a certain percent of delirium on the maps, which is requiring a pretty nice expensive build to work or handle that, or an aura bot. But we're going to look into the more casual approach, which doesn't have party play at all times. It doesn't have a super decked out character, and normally these farming strategies are only used when you're having your atlas finished and you're doing tier 16 maps. So let me just change scene and we can go through the atlas and talk about one of them. I made a video recently about this, and that is the casual friendly approach of farming Valos Rest with Harbingers, and I put Blight in it. And basically we're using Imposing Merchant Watchstones, Chromium, Valos Rest. You can buy the tier 1 that I have. These cost between 3 and 3.5 Exaltas each, or you can roll them cheaper yourself if you want to. You can also buy the lower tier version of this, which is like 50 chaos each. That's still an investment. It's also recommended to at least have 2 points done in your Uncharted Realm to get Secret of Stone as well as Enduring Influence. All of this is explained in the video. I can link it in the descriptions below. So first things first, most casual players will pretty much never do the invitations in the middle. So the recommendation for that, to achieve this farming strategy, would literally be to buy a service to get at least 2 of these done. Now that can cost about an Exalted each, and I think that's definitely something you'd be worth doing, because you're going to make the currency back very effectively. But this is all investments, and this is all be the baseline understanding of, you need to be at tier 16, you need to set this up and prep the stones, have some missions, and all of these things that is involved in this strategy, and that goes for most farming strategies. So the problem I've had is that a lot of people have been asking, well, GHAZZY, I'm playing my League starter, but I'm not even in red maps, or I can't do tier 16. I get shit on by the bosses. And if you're in that position, then you can't do the farming strategy. And then they're asking, why can't you just make a farming strategy video or guide that tells us how we can make currency before we get to the point where we can set up stuff like this for tier 16? And the problem with this is that there are very few or next to no decent farming strategy that doesn't involve setting your atlas up in a specific way, using stones in a specific way, or just straight up doing tier 16 maps. So then if you look at that problem and rewind that back to, why are these people not able to do tier 16 maps? And that usually comes down to your League starter characters. So it all boils down to how people view the concept of what a casual player is. And I think we have a huge problem in the community with this, because depending on who you're asking, you'll always get a different answer to it, right? Because it's so subjective. That's why, from me, my perspective, I'm very picky about receiving feedback from my community, from my YouTube comments, Twitter, Discord, the stream, whatever, right? Because for me, it's important to get different perspectives, because the way I view a casual player is very different from how another player views a casual player, right? Same thing to how a low budget build for me is very different than the low budget build guides I create. So I wanted to tackle this a little bit. And what I would like to say, and the problem is in the community, is that a low budget League starter character should always be a character that can always do tier 16 maps on a very low budget. And the problem with that is that there are a lot of builds in the community that have been posted. A lot of them are inflated DPS and PvP. A lot of them are builds that are terrible without super big investment, and they're being promoted as a low budget League starter character. And for a lot of people that are not aware of these things, where they hit a brick wall or be like, oh, I have to invest 10 Exaltas into my character before it can do the red tier maps, then that is not a good build. But how the hell is a new player going to be able to determine that the build I'm about to play is going to hit that wall? if the guide or comments or whatever does not show this. Now, we have plenty of build guide creators in the community. Myself and many others are making build guides that don't have this problem. So sure, if you're following one of my build guides, you should never have that problem, ever, as a league starter. Never. But people that follow my build guides, they might not want to play one of my builds that league, or ever for that matter. I don't have guides for all the abilities in the game. So they look for someone else, and they might fall in the trap where they're playing a build that is not good. So how the hell are they going to tackle that issue? And the answer is there is no solution to it. You just made the mistake of following a bad build guide, and you're now suffering from the consequences of doing that mistake. And that is something we can't prevent. We can't make a video where we teach people to spot these things, because they require a lot of information and knowledge and experience with the game. Once you play the game more, you'll notice these things more and be better at spotting these things. So taking that aside, my only tip in that section would be to, when you decide for a build that you want to follow, that you read the comments, maybe try to get feedback from other people. Is this a good build? Ask in game or on the forums or in the streams and Discord servers of different communities would be a good way to collect information if this is a viable choice for the way you're going to play. That would be my only suggestion, to make sure that you take away the risk of having that, oh shit, I hit the brick wall, I can't progress my character without spending a ton of currency. The other part is, how do you build up currency in your start sequence when you're starting to play the league? No matter where you start. I'm going to completely neglect the idea of league starting on league start day, because it's very different. People just go crazy in the first 2 days approximately, and there's a lot of different strategies people can employ to that. So I'm just going to talk about the casual players who might not be pushing 30 hours on league release. What you want to do is play a build that can reliably do tier 16 on a low budget. You want to get to the point where you finish the campaign, and then you want to start mapping. And at that point, you have two different choices. I personally take a pretty casual approach to it. I just play the game and have some fun. I don't apply any specific strategies to my Atlas, because most of my profit that I make is from crafting, and I don't have to care about the Atlas too much. And I think it's more of a chore to do after 7.5 years in this game. But most people, or not most, but a lot of people want to push out and finish your Atlas very quickly. And there are tons of guides out there from really good content creators that are making guides for the Atlas. And the best strategy that I've seen is called the Frog Leap strategy. So you want to search on YouTube for that. And that way you can progress the Atlas and get your finish your Atlas very quickly and get all the stones for the Awakener levels, for example. So what you want to do is get to the point where you're mapping, and then you want to finish your Atlas. And once you have finished your Atlas, then you can start applying currency farming strategies onto that approach if you want to farm currency. Now, I mostly do profit crafting, but I've been starting to make some guides for profit farming. And they all require you to reach a certain point with your Atlas. They literally always do that. So you must make sure that you get to that point. And there's a few things you need to take into consideration. I talk about this a lot, and that is called smart investments of your currency, right? You see a lot of us on League Start, we play a character that is pretty shit, especially in software. You see people playing terrible builds. And the reason for that is that we will only invest currency into our characters so that our character can do the content we need it to do. In the start of a league, that is, okay, I will only invest currency into my character so that it can just handle tier 16 maps. All other currency is being invested into things that will get me more currency from. And that is either flipping or crafting and whatnot. But in this case, we don't have any specific farming strategies. We're just playing the game with one purpose in mind. Finish the Atlas so that we can apply our farming strategy later. And this is where the master missions comes in. If you have the white tier missions, I would suggest running them. Every time you're progressing the Atlas to get to the next stone, just make sure that if you have a mission, you should pop it. Doesn't matter if you have the stats or the point of the tree or not. Just use the missions. It's giving you more experience. It's giving you more loot. You can get a lucky drop. You can get some exalted orbs. If you get lucky, you can drop items that might be an upgrade for your character or something you can sell on the market for a couple of chaos in here there. It's just free currency laying there. So use your goddamn missions. That's all you do. Because the purpose in your start is to get to the point where you have the Awakener 8. You want to get to the point where you have tier 16. And the progression there is no currency farming strategy. There are ways where you can get more currency out of that journey. And there are ways that will give you less currency for that journey. So if I were to ignore the fact that I have, extra beasts or Alva missions or Sana missions and whatnot, then I would make less currency. But if I'm applying those as soon as I have them available for the map tiers I'm running, you should always do so. That's going to give you more currency as you play. So most of us that makes currency, we don't have hundreds and thousands of exalted orbs when we start playing. We are literally just playing the game. And that's why you see a lot of people saying you'll make currency by just playing. So if your character cannot handle higher tier maps, play the maps that the character can handle. Build currency by just playing the game. Alchemy go those maps till you get currency, so you can invest that into your character to the point where you can do the higher tier maps. Then you can start deploying the farming strategies that are very profitable. The one I've been showing you now on stream and made a video about is a more casual approach, whereas the better one would be to go for Harbinger farming on Vol seems to be very good. There's plenty of different strategies. Farming Ashling on Hamlet and Volos is really good as well as an example. There's plenty of other ways. Delirium from Lexijorus is crazy good as well. But all of these require you to have a character that can handle it. And so just to bring it back to my problem in the community right now that I wanted to tackle a little bit in this discussion, I would love to hear you guys' opinions in this in the comments below, by the way. And that is the fact that a new player doesn't have the experience nor the knowledge to be able to dictate or determine if a build they're about to play is good or not. And that is a huge problem. That is why we have a rather select few people in the community that always have very high quality build guides. I have mine on poevault.com, for example, the website owned by Icy Veins, that are creating and having tons and tons of build guides. And that for sure is very good to go for. But we also have on YouTube several content creators in our community that are making very, very good League starter builds and whatnot. But then we also have the ones that are making bad ones. We have certain other websites that are rather questionable. We have the PoE forums, which is a hit or miss. Some of them are really good. Another example that is, for example, my Spectre build guide is really good. We also have Baller Mage who made a really good Spectre build, but we also have K Gaming who made a really good Spectre build that is on the forums. That is one of, like, those three builds are great to play with. But there are other Spectre builds, for example, on the forums that are not as good that people might go with. And then they're just going to fall flat because they're following a guy that just doesn't work without proper investment. And it's just sad to see that that is a problem that we have in the community. So again, I just want to repeat what I said earlier. The best thing a new player can do is, once they've decided, hey, I want to play this, is to then get feedback on that build. Look through the comment section on that build. What are people saying about the build? Bring that to a community, for example, a Discord community, a streamers community. Ask on someone's stream, my stream. Ask on Twitter, ask on the PoE forums, ask on PoE Discord, get some feedback on the build, and then you can determine that, hey, this might be actually a good thing, because most of the comment I got and the feedback I got was that this is a good build. But then again, we also have the problem with the people are falling flat on that, and the only tip I can give is try to run the maps that the build can do, get the currency for it, to upgrade your character, or just scrap it and build and make a new character. But that means you have to re-level a new character, go through the campaign, start the maps again, level it up, and progress that character. So there's a lot of problems with that. But ultimately, what I wanted to say is that this whole concept of zero to hero approach, where you have a currency making strategy running white tier maps, there are some ways you can make profit out of it, sure, but they're never going to be great. They're never going to be amazing or anything. You can just push a little bit of more currency, and the idea is to invest as little as possible and still make profit out of it. So master missions, like I mentioned, these are free. You get them randomly upon completing maps, and you get one for every day on the reset. I think it's like 2 a.m. for CET time zone, with a reset. And the highest tier map, if you did a white tier map, then you'll get one mission of each master for white tier maps. If you finished the last map you did was a yellow tier, you get it from yellow. And red tier for a red tier map, of course, or a red tier mission. But that's basically it. And it's a bit hard because of how convoluted the whole concept of what is a casual player and what is a low budget build and what is a league starter character. Some people say that a league starter build should be able to handle tier 16 on a 4-link, which is not even feasible. That's not something you should baseline your strategy around. But being able to do tier 16 maps with a tabula rasa, which is self-farmable, that is perfectly fine to go for. But everyone has different takes on this, and I just want to hear what you guys have to say about this. A bit of a discussion topic that I wanted to start, because I've been getting pretty spammed about these questions. So just let me know in the comments below what you guys think of it, or if you think that I'm completely way out of line with my take on it, let me know. Or if you agree, let me know in the comments as well. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say in this video. I'll see you in the next one. So till then, stay safe. Keep rocking.